Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So, happy Monday. Um, it's Monday again. Um, these Mondays they keep rolling round. But you know what? Thank God they do, because if they didn't roll round, you know, that wouldn't be good, would it? Um, so what I'm on very briefly this morning. I just want to go over what we learnt yesterday about the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, I have to say there's been no developments overnight at all. So nothing like, the night before where the police were out and taking photos in Annie and Tommaso's home. Nothing like that happened last night. You know, all the media were there, the social media. We watched a little bit of JLR last night. He was live. JLR Investigates was there. Brian Ensign was there. It was one of those times where there was nothing to report. Except, having said that, earlier on, while they were there, the police were there searching what was thought to be a septic tank or maybe a water contain. They had a lid off a drain or something like that. It's not clear exactly what they were searching. They had a stick in there. It's a very grim turn that the case has taken, I think. It felt like the police, hi Marg, hi Snoopy. It felt like police were looking for Nancy's body. Let's just have a look at Nancy herself, because this is the person at the centre of all this. 84 years old. Still not clear, is it really? Was she taken from her bed? Or did she ever get home from the dinner that she had with her daughter and her son-in-law? The son-in-law, supposedly Tommaso, brought her home, and some people would say she definitely got home, but I don't think we have any CCTV footage to show that she got home. We know that the garage door opened, somebody entered. Do we know for certain that it was actually Nancy? The only thing, sorry, I'm still sniffing, but you can see I've put my face on today, so I'm feeling a little bit better. Not quite as bad as yesterday. So, I think later I might be going back to bed. Just have to keep sleeping it off, don't you, when you've got a cold? Fluids, food, sleep. That's all you can do, and let it run its course, really. So yeah, did she make it home safely? And then was stolen practically from her bed, 84 years old. And one of the things, so I just wanted to go over the things that we did talk about last night, because there'll be people that didn't see that live. It was a very late live that I did. I don't normally do late lives. Yeah, we learned that Nancy, ever since COVID, remember she's 84 years old, she has not attended her church services in person. She has attended them virtually, and it's when someone realised she had not logged in that they raised the alarm. That was one thing we learned yesterday. Now, today on social media, again, there's so many rumours flying around about this case. Is it true? Her church did an appeal, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a tribute to Nancy and a plea for her to come home safely, etc. And it was saying on the social media that I was reading, but I can't verify it, that the church said that Nancy logged into that appeal, or somebody not logged in on Nancy's behalf. Gosh, this case just gets crazier and crazier. And of course, today is Monday, and this is the deadline for the $6 million ransom that's supposedly been asked for in Bitcoin. How is it going to be paid? Can it be traced? Will it result in the return of Nancy? I certainly hope so. So basically there are two scenarios here. Either she did never return home safely, and Tommaso and Annie, her daughter and son-in-law, know more than they're telling, or they're completely innocent. She was returned home safely, and someone really did kidnap this 84-year-old woman. You just can't believe that. Why would they kidnap a lady? I know her daughter Savannah is a high profile sort of news anchor, may have upset somebody. Nancy herself on her Facebook pages, etc., she's quite anti-Trump. That can upset people. Political leanings of either way can upset people, can't they? That's a possibility. I have seen some terrible posts from people about Nancy because of her left-wing views. Terrible that. It doesn't matter what someone's views are in a situation like this, whether you agree with their views or not. When an 84-year-old vulnerable, ill woman who supposedly can't walk very well, who relies on heart medication to keep her alive, who's got a pacemaker. These are the worrying things, aren't they? She's been gone a week. So this all happened not yesterday, Sunday, but the Sunday before. So this woman, from what we know, has been without her medication, unless they had some medication for her prepared, because her medication didn't go with her. So whether whoever's kidnapped her has been able to get her medication. I think the other important thing is, as far as we know, again, that no proof of life has been provided. So, the Guthries, they're not likely to pay over a $6 million ransom, are they? Unless they know for sure she's alive, surely. Yeah. Hi, Rock. Yeah, I agree. So the sheriff's department, you just have to mind your language, please, on here, because we don't want, YouTube don't like that kind of language. But I agree with you. The sheriff's department have come under a lot of criticism. Of course, the sheriff himself, he was at the bloody Super Bowl, which at the end of the day, being at the Super Bowl, in the middle of, I know it's the Super Bowl, maybe he's had those tickets for months. Maybe he's been meaning to go for months. But it wasn't a very good look, was it? In the middle of a high-profile case like this, at the end of the day, when you're a sheriff, being a sheriff comes with great responsibility. If you don't want that responsibility, don't be a sheriff. If you don't want to be called in on your day off when you're supposed to be going to the Super Bowl, don't be a sheriff. Go and stack shelves at Target or something. You can't be a sheriff and take that sort of, prestige, and that I would imagine sheriffs are elected, aren't they? I think he'd been elected before, then he was not elected, then he was elected again. But they carry a lot of prestige. I imagine it's a good job, like financially, and you'll get your expenses and this, that, and the other. And then, yes, it might be inconvenient that this case has happened when he was supposed to go to the Super Bowl. But you know what? Don't be sheriff then. That's my opinion about it. Yeah, so these are the things that came out. Well, what were the other things that came out? So yeah, it felt like they were looking for a body yesterday. Now, it may be that they're just exploring all avenues, to look for a body. That may not be because they think there is a body roundabout anywhere there, but but again, why so long? So that's a week has passed since Nancy disappeared, and now they're only just what's the word? They're only just searching the septic tank or the places around there. Surely, now that there was blood found at the door. This is what makes me think that Nancy did get home at some point, because there was blood on the doorstep, but we don't know how long that blood had been there. maybe that blood was there before that. We do know that Nancy took an Uber to Annie's house because the Uber driver has confirmed that. So she was okay when she left, from what we can gather. Oh, thank you, Rock. Actually, I'm really ill at the moment. I've got a terrible cold. But yeah, no, my voice will get better in future videos. Yeah, so it seems like it seems like Nancy was okay when she left the house because she was in the Uber. Though why her family sent an Uber to get her and didn't go and get her themselves, they only live up the road. But anyway, that's what happened. Maybe she just rang it herself. But it's said that Tommaso took her home, made sure she was home safely. And then around 2 a.m, somebody else went into this house, and this is when it's supposed to have happened, whatever happened. Now, when the blood actually appeared there, we don't know. All we know is there was blood because the police opened up the crime scene again, didn't they? Brian Ensign went there, videoed the blood, and the blood was proven to be Nancy's. So something happened to Nancy that caused her to bleed. May not have been from that day. Maybe that was from 3 days before. Again, I just don't know. So, we're still in this puzzling case. The only thing we know for certain is that Nancy's not there anymore. We don't know if she's alive. We don't know if she's deceased. Even if she hadn't died of any nefarious reason, foul play, because of her frail sort of state, her heart, and the fact she needs her tablets, etc. More than a week has gone by. How is she being looked after? So even if she was alive when she was taken, there's every possibility that she might not have survived this trauma. Imagine being taken from your home in the middle of the night. That would be traumatic for those of us who don't have heart problems, wouldn't it? So, hi, Sean. Yes, Snoopy Tommaso, according to confirmed reports, was the last person to see Nancy. Now, Tommaso has disappeared. All the family have disappeared, haven't they? They were staying at Annie's house, but I think probably because the police wanted to go in there and check it out forensically. They've gone from there. Who knows where they are? They've done their appeals. That last appeal they did was very, very short, wasn't it? Very, very short. So they've made 3 appeals if you include Cameron's appeal, which is the son. He made an appeal on his own. And in the last appeal they said, very, very short appeal, they made some I do think that's strange when they said, please release her so we can celebrate with her. Now, that makes me feel, did the ransom note tell them to say it that way? Is that some sort of code? It was an unusual thing to say. I think, if your mum's been kidnapped and you're looking forward to seeing again, would you say, oh, please release her so we can celebrate with her? Would it? I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to know, the ransom responses that the family have made. They'll be guided by the FBI. At the end of the day, it's the FBI have made it clear it's up to the family what they do in any kidnapping. They will advise families, not just this family, but any family. They advise them on what they think they should do. But ultimate decisions about how to respond, whether to pay the ransom, all those things, the actual nuts and bolts of what they do in a kidnapping case, is up to the family. The family makes them, support them, advise them and their experience what they should do, but they will ultimately, it's the family that has to decide. So I just wanted to give this sort of brief recap of this case because today is deadline day, though we don't know exactly what time the deadline is. It's night time in America at the moment, so I'm presuming it will be after America sort of wakes up. Will it be, is the deadline, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning, or is it 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or is it 10 o'clock at night? We don't know what time the deadline is. The amount that's been requested is $6 million. Now, at the end of the day, Savannah Guthrie, if she hasn't got that money, not many people have just got $6 million lying around, have they? I've said this before, even though she may be quite well off because she's got a good job and blah, 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 blah. Often people, they don't have that money just to lay their hands on, do they? You know, it might be tied up in property, you know, and things like that. It's not many people could just go to their bank account and there's $6 million just sitting in there. But maybe NBC, who she works for, they might be in a better position to find this money to let her have it, even if it's on the basis of paying it back. She said in the last appeal, we will pay. So they've obviously got the money sorted somehow. Then, of course, they had to get it converted to Bitcoin and, you know, all that kind of thing. Why 6 million as well? Don't you think it's an odd amount? It's like, why not 5 million or 10 million? It just seems 6 million. Or maybe the people know something that is what they could find. I don't know. Oh, and then of course the imposter ransom note we found out as well yesterday was sent to Tommaso and Annie. So that first ransom, I think it might have been the first ransom note that was sent, or anyway, but it was found to be an imposter who sent it. He's been arrested. That was sent to Annie and Tommaso, but it's sort of logical, I suppose. They're the ones that live round about. If that was a local person who sent that ransom note, he might know Annie and Tommaso. You know, God knows how they all feel in that area. You know, because if you lived in that area and you knew that someone had been or supposedly had been abducted in the middle of the night, you'd be pretty nervous, wouldn't you? Until this case is resolved. So what else can I say about it? It's still a big mystery. So, you know, shade is cast on Tommaso, has been since Ashley Banfield. Remember, it was Ashley Banfield from News Nation who originally said that he was a suspect. Then the sheriff came on and said, no, nobody's a suspect. That's a reckless claim, which you know, is a reckless claim, because if he was a suspect, it shouldn't have been announced, really, should it? She doubled down on that claim. She did not take it back. She doubled down on it, and she said, according to her sources, whoever they are, probably law enforcement sources, Tommaso was a suspect. So everyone's been looking at Tommaso then. You know, trying to, apparently he used to be a teacher. I read somewhere. I need to sort of look at it. I haven't had time to look at it properly with being ill about him. You know, he's Italian, apparently. He's not been in America that long. He married Annie. I don't know where he met her or any of those circumstances. But we did have a look at Nancy's Facebook page. She's all about family and some politics. I mean, she has, you know, she is openly liberal, if you like, on her Facebook, which is fine. Or why shouldn't she be? But, you know, sometimes people get wound up, don't they? And Nancy's Facebook page is public. So it seems she just seems like your typical grandma. There's lots of pictures of the grandkids, pictures of the family. There was that lovely photo of them, might be able to show that actually, of them at Christmas, just this Christmas, literally, that just passed. All the family in their matching pajamas. Yeah, I think I can put that up to show you. Yeah, this was a picture that was on Nancy's Facebook page just this Christmas just gone. My lovely family, or something like that, were the comments. And there's Tommaso here on the right, you know. So just as far as social media is concerned, seems like they were a happy family. But we know that social media means nothing. And yeah, that's interesting what you say there, Sean. Celebrate, yes, celebration of life, isn't it? That's what they call funerals, isn't it? You know, there's also, instead of a funeral, a celebration of life, as she said, so we can celebrate with her. Oh, and then I saw somebody else that Brian Entin was interviewing. He actually said, oh, they'll be wanting to get Nancy's remains back. Well, we don't know yet that Nancy is deceased. I mean, hi, Angel. It feels like the police think maybe she is deceased because they're looking in septic tanks and God knows what for her. And it makes, you know, it makes sense that sadly she might be deceased because of the blood found and then the fact she didn't have her heart medication. You know, we're all praying that she will be returned alive and they will be able to celebrate in the good way, not in the way of a celebration of life. But you know, is today going to bring more revelations? So as I said, yesterday outside Nancy's house, there was media, mainstream media, social media, you name it, the world and his dog was there, literally, uh, waiting. Everybody's waiting. This case has gripped not only America, but the rest of the world, really. And as I've said before, I think the reason for that is not only because Savannah uh, is famous. Her daughter Savannah is famous. But let's not forget that Savannah, she's probably expressed views on the is it the Today program? She's you know she's a famous American newsreader. Maybe she's expressed views that some people don't agree with. Also, she interviewed all the Epstein survivors. Why does everything always tie back to Epstein one way or another? That man, I feel like Jeffrey Epstein is still controlling the world from his deathbed. He's been dead for years, years and years. Over 10 years, hasn't he? I can't remember what year he died, but he's been dead for a long time, but he's still controlling everything. He's like the ghost of Christmas past, isn't he? People can't move on. You know, all the people that were connected to him, you know, it's like, and now even this case, even though, you know, I'm not saying it's anything to do with the Epstein files, but here's another connection. It just shows how these tentacles from Epstein go out into the whole world, into all walks of life. That Savannah Guthrie, she interviewed these Epstein survivors, and including Virginia Giuffre. So there's a connection to the Epstein files, which is the other story of the moment across the world. You know, do you think these stories pervade into places like Russia and China, etc.? I mean, obviously, in the sort of Western world, the Epstein files is this massive story. But where are the arrests? Where are the arrests? I'm sick of seeing Epstein's face. I'm sick of reading about all these people and the bad things they did, and nobody's getting arrested, including Andrew, formerly known as Prince, and or you know, Trump, and everyone who is mentioned in those Epstein files several times, photos, videos. No one's been arrested. And then we've got this, and there's a connection here somehow to the Epstein files. And and the revelations are just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. You know, at first you're thinking, oh yeah, it was trafficking young girls, that's bad enough in itself. Now we're looking at children, we're looking at possible red rum of children and snuff films, and oh God, it's just, honestly, it's bad for your mental health to read about it. But you know, it's important that it all comes out, of course. So anyway, that's where we are. That's where we are. I hope today brings some answers for this family. I hope to God that Nancy is still with us, you know, on this planet. But if not, I hope they do find her remains and bring her home for a decent burial. I mean, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? If she's being held, where is she being held? It's not easy to look, unless it was planned and they had a place ready for her with a medication. No, that's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it? That they planned this and they just took her because they had everything ready for her for keeping her. It's not in their interest to kill her, I suppose, the kidnappers. They want their money. If that's a genuine kidnap request, they want their money, don't they? So you wouldn't think they'd be reckless and jeopardize that. But, you know, kidnappings rarely end in positive outcomes. Sorry to say that. They just rarely do for whatever reason. Anyway, if there's any news, of course, I'll be back to tell you about it. Thanks for watching. Thank you for caring about Nancy. And don't forget to press the like, please. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I was just chuckling at something someone had put in the chat. So thank you. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Have a great Monday. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.